if the Earth is spinning in a circle at 1,000 miles an hour, and I wanted to travel with the rotation, it seems like the Earth would rotate under me to the point where even if I'm going 1,000 miles an hour, I'm staying steady over the same spot.
Yes, believers believe planes are flying backwards.
Right, but hold just one real quick, guy. But that's not applicable to the belief that they teach us because it's not going in a straight line anyway, and it's actually moving in 6 different vectors. So again, we cannot apply that as a baseball going in almost a straight line, spinning at 3 or 6 rotations a second or whatever that is, because that's not what they teach anyway.
You're absolutely
they
right.
do not teach that, yeah.
But it does teach that it rotates over an axis, and it does teach that it rotates a full 360 every 24 hours, which, I mean, if you calculate the circumference of the Earth being around 25,000 miles, yeah, that would be a good theory.
So AJ, I'm going to skip to the end of the race here, and you'll have to claim that the atmosphere magically rotates with the ball, thus we're not experiencing any sort of directional or reference frame differential.
But that would mean that the atmosphere is going against you at 1,000 miles an hour, which would make flight pretty much impossible.
It would be hypothetical at best, and again, they have now come up with excuses to why we do not experience. So either way, they admit it's not falsifiable, and that it would be nominal at best. And
that is something that I completely cannot answer, and judging from my knowledge, does not make sense. Because knowing the way that flight works, if I was experiencing 1,000-mile-an-hour wind atmosphere, there is no way that I would be able to get an aircraft off the ground at all.
Right. So I'm kind of ready just to let you know what reality is, though, AJ. Earth, I just have to tell you this because nobody's mentioned it yet, because Fraud likes you so much, because we've been waiting for an honest person to be here. We've had a full moon for 3 days, if you didn't notice. Just for lack of a better explanation.
Oh, the moon was massive last night. It was amazing.
Yes, right. And I'm going to be honest with you. So here's the claim, and you can hold this against me, but nobody else, because again, in this sort of culture that you've ran into, we're not a group think. We're actually not a cult. We're a culture of people that just realize we've been lied to. But some of us will make more claims than others. Jenny or Hank or Fraud might not agree with me, but I'm going to tell you the truth. And the reality is, and this is absolutely easily understandable and provable, Earth is not an object. So what Earth is land masses that is coming out of the water. So our existence of this creation under the heavens, that'll come up later, is water. We're actually surrounded by water. And as you know, every time you get to the end of a landmass, AJ, water is there waiting for you. And anytime you've ever gone across an ocean, right, then the landmass is there. After that landmass ends, no matter what continent it is,
it's always water.
The waters continue. So we are literally in a water world that's not moving at all. We are a stationary plane of existence. And I heard you mention God earlier, so I can say this freely without getting in trouble. Just as the Bible describes in Job, Genesis 1, 2 Peter 3, Jeremiah 31:37, and about 2,000 times it talks about the heavens above and the earth beneath. So Earth is not an object. In fact, you can't measure it. We don't even know how deep the Earth goes. We know that there's a Mariana Trench. But when it comes down to this reality, everything they told us is a lie, and they've already admitted that you can't detect spin or motion, and actually you're too small to experience curvature, just like Jenny was pointing out that Neil deGrasse Tyson, who of course is a television spokesperson, not a scientist,
yes,
he admits that even if
thank you for clarifying that. I appreciate that.
Right,
thank you.
Right. And they've admitted that even if you go several dozen miles into the air, you still can't see curvature. The problem is that's not true according to this so-called, now I have buddy fingers, be careful, the globe Earth model, which is a bad word. There's no such thing. It's a belief system. So actually in real life, we could see curvature and the effects of it very early in altitude, in fact, less than 1,000 feet. But we don't experience that. We only experience a stationary flat plane of existence. And that's not just our claim. That's actually everybody's claim. That's actually the Department of Defense, the aerospace engineering corporations that you work for. I don't know how old you're probably around 28, 30 years old?
Yeah, I'm 28. Good guess.
Exactly. Very good. Exactly. So what they've mentioned in 1988, Trident Flight Research Center, which just a few years before you were born, they admitted this. I don't know if you know who they are. You probably do. But
Yeah.
this was the time when they were designing the X-31, the X-29 for vector thrust variant special wing designs. They admitted during all their
Yes.
procedures that
Very
the
good design.
Earth is flat. Right, flat, non-rotating. So that's not just our claim. It's not just the rest of the world's. Even NASA admits themselves that we are dependent on a flat, non-rotating Earth. This is when it comes to reality. But when it comes to this outer space cartoon religion that we're all brought up on television to believe, that's the only time we ever experience such an ideology. Nobody experiences that in reality. So when we come to this word, this term flat Earth, just like Mimas, you met a moderator about 20, 30 minutes ago who even explained to you he's not a flat earther either. And actually, I'm not either. And you'll be surprised that most of us don't necessarily have that title. But yes, the title of the channel is 24/7 Flat Earth Discord. That's because that is the consensus of understanding, which of course breaks away from the normie belief system, again, given to us by what? Society, television, teachers that are indoctrinated. And that's really the crux of this argument, because you already depend, and correct me if I'm wrong, you already depend on not adjusting for curvature or spin. So you already depend on a flat Earth, so to speak. So at that point, I'm going to let the other people talk to you, but just so I can lay the foundations, pun intended, for this conversation if it goes any further, I just want you to know that that's the reality, and there is no challenging that. I used to work for the Department of Defense myself. My grandfather worked for Lockheed Martin, so even as I grew up, I was able to look at a lot of things that most people might not have access to, such as yourself, such as that people that work for the military-industrial complex do. So we've had some special access points in our lives, and again, God is good. Every man's a liar. I trust the Lord above. Again, above, that'll come in later handy, right? So we have been lied to, and the whole reason, we can talk about the reasons later, but you already admit you depend on the concept of a stationary plane of existence, and you'll be surprised because the next time you take a flight, you're going to be looking out that window a little bit differently, and you'll remember to bring your camera, and that's what I did about 7 years ago, and I have a lot of footage I can share with you later, but it might get a little overwhelming. I want the other people to talk to you.
You do
first,
say, wait,
but
can
just
I
so
ask
you know,
can I ask
go
you
ahead.
one question first? Because you seem incredibly knowledgeable. Not saying anybody
Sure,
else
go ahead.
isn't, but my biggest question, and I know it's the age old, eat Sinbad, go to the edge
I
of the
can't
earth
wait.
type
Sure.
thing, but like, why, with all of our technology and all of our ability to travel and to be able to coordinate travel, why has nobody been able to find an endpoint? Why does it appear that it is?
I love
sphere?
that question, because what you're going to be surprised about is that I already answered it earlier, but it's hard to hear because it's overwhelming. So let me explain again. The Earth is not an object. Now you're remembering I said this. Number two, when the Earth ends, the waters continue. So the idea that the Earth ends and then the waters are a waterfall just going off, that's not something anybody's experienced. So the waters that encompass us, again, mentioned in Genesis 1, Jeremiah 31, 2 Peter 3, Exodus 24, talks about waters in the heavens above and below. And the waters actually are much bigger than the earth. You ever heard the term, people say, well, the earth is 70% water? Let me correct that. It's not true. The earth is 100% earth, and the waters are 100% water. They see the earth is soil or earth coming out of the water. The earth is not an object like a baseball or a frisbee or a banana. The earth is something, much more special. As God tells us, again in the Bible, Jeremiah 31, if you can measure the depths of the earth, he'll destroy his own people. It's so big, it's so much more than a cartoon on television that it's not something you can actually even comprehend. He reminds us this
Can you
again.
give me the reference for that? I've never heard that verse in my life, and I've read through the Bible multiple times.
Yes, Jeremiah 31:37, but the most important when it comes to this would be Moses, the speech that Moses was given by God face to face practically, which is Exodus 24. And that states, "You shall not make any graven images unto me." This is very important, because God is telling us that these ideologies and these cartoons and this infanticide magical television religion that they give us on a broadcasted system that's broadcasted to 250 million Americans for the past 50 years, brainwashing us day and night, has given us these false idol worshiping images. AJ, and I'm going to explain a lot more to you, but again, that's going to come in time. There's too much to tell you all right now. So let me just repeat this. Exodus 20, that's 204. Exodus 24. As soon as God got done telling Moses, you will not have any other gods before me, the first thing he tells them, this is amazing, the first thing he tells Moses on Mount Sinai is that you will not make any graven images of anything, of any likeness, ready for it, in the heavens above and the earth beneath and the waters underneath the earth, giving us a level horizontal plane of existence of not just one level plane, multiple, heaven above, earth beneath, and waters under the earth. This is literally the most powerful destruction verse in the Bible when it comes to destroying this outer space cartoon religion. No, it's not outer space that exists. It's the waters above and the waters below. We're in a water world, and God describes it very in detail as levels, as horizontal levels. Again, heavens above, earth beneath, waters under the earth. Not an omnidirectional, vastness of nothing called outer space, which is ironic because they took that bottomless pit out of Revelation and they put it, that's what Satan does. Satan's very smart. And he took that bottomless pit cosmology and he put it all the way around us, an omnidirectional bottomless pit. And that's what Satan does. He perverts everything. And that's what this did. They took away above, AJ. You can't even conceive above on a ball because somebody in China has their own above. Somebody in Australia everybody has their own above. And that's what they did. So there is no above or below. But the Bible makes it clear there's over 2,000. I'm almost done. Almost 2,000 references to the above and below.